Take off! It's time for Doug and Ben's Great NASCAR Adventure!
Thanks as always, Marshall, for that wonderful introduction. It's amazing he manages to make it out to the infield each week to do that live on the spot intro.
Yes.
Honest.
Couple things with the chat. Terry, for Christmas, you're getting hooked on phonics. And Keith, I was here 15 minutes early. I was not shaving it close. That's it.
There we go. And we lost a viewer as a result. We had 4, now we have 3. Perfect. Well, we're back to 4. They changed their mind. Maybe they were just laughing so hard they dropped their phone and it closed.
Maybe.
It happened. Welcome to NasCanucks. I'm Ben. He's Doug. We're talking about summer playoffs, where some of the races are playoffs and some of them aren't.
True.
So we got 3 races to talk about on the weekend. We had Darlington action, but not throwback, although the 44 team in Xfinity, they were like the people that show up to the costume party that isn't a costume party in costume. They're like, I thought we were doing throwbacks. No, we did that the spring this year.
No, didn't the 21 do a throwback as well? Didn't they go back to their regular Pure Leader scheme?
Isn't every week a throwback for the 21?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just saying. So, yes, Darlington for Xfinity and Cup, and Portland, the penultimate race of the season for IndyCar. Lots going on that, including somebody got Chastained this weekend. And fun fact, it was Jimmy Johnson. Hard, no respect. Anywho, heading into the weekend, rain. They're just bringing it with them everywhere. Hey, if you're having a drought, book a NASCAR race.
Yeah,
solve your problems.
Seeing all that rain this weekend just brought back the, if you want to call them, memories of when I was in Darlington, because we just had it rained all day Saturday, and it was worse because it was a spring race, right? So it's
right.
It's Mother's Day, and it's like, okay, so it's raining. Okay, they're gonna put, it was supposed to be the Saturday night. They're gonna race the Sunday. Oh no, can't race the Sunday because it's Mother's Day. Oh no, we're gonna race now because they asked the mothers. Mother said it was okay, so they're gonna race now on Mother's Day.
I want to say hello to Charles75N, Keith Campbell, Terry's 3Gs, and Cushman NYC. Good to see all of you. So delayed. Well, no. Did they start on time or did they start late, the Xfinity race?
I don't know. I watched both on...
There was a delay during it because I had to watch part of it on highlights because my recording didn't record it all.
Well, it was nice that they did show the... the Dale Jr. download with
I fast-forwarded all of that.
Well, you got to watch that other show on USA. They showed the start of it.
What other show?
That documentary series, the docu-series.
Oh, I didn't watch that either. Yeah. Been there, seen that. Anywho's, Xfinity getting close to play. I don't know when the playoffs start. They got to be soon. But the racing like it already is.
Is Bristol their close race?
Okay. Which would be next week. Okay.
No, not next week.
No?
No.
2 weeks then.
Yeah. Kansas
that
next
makes
week.
sense. Yeah, round to 12. Yeah. And who knows with the trucks, because they've been MIA for a few weeks now. They're on break.
Yeah, so, I think they're back at Bristol, I want to say.
Maybe.
I think. Possibly.
I missed the Wednesday night Bristol truck race. That was always a fun race.
It's Thursday. Modified's Wednesday.
Oh, it was, that's right. It was modified. It's on Wednesday. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great week. That was like mini speed weeks. Literally. So, Xfinity race. Yep. It was rather typical. We didn't see a lot of Darlington stripes all week.
No, the wrecking started on that, on the pace laps.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs got a little too close to Justin Allgaier. Wanted to heat up the tires.
Yep.
Oh, no one told him it was car high.
He's young. He'll learn.
Yeah.
So, pretty much Good Darlington race. Sheldon Creed was up front for a lot of it. We had Kyle Larson running another race in a Hendrick Xfinity car, which is a rare thing to see. But now,
So is that we forgot to talk about this at Watkins Glen out there? Does that mean that there was 5 Hendrick cars in that race?
yes, but remember, there's no limits to ownership in those series, right?
True.
So,
yes, that's right. Yes.
yeah, but apparently it's all separate because that car was actually prepared at Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, it's separate.
Yeah. It's only a Wi-Fi connection away. Only a Wi-Fi connection away.
Yes. Yep.
For sharing setups and simulator data, whatever.
More on that later.
Yeah.
All that's lost is found again.
Yeah. So, the 17/88 car. Exactly. Yeah. Who's hanging the body on that chassis? That's what I want to know. Who hung the body on that chassis? So,
pretty.
It was one of these things. Most of the highlights happen almost away from the actual racing in many ways. Like we had a couple of wrecks. We had the great rear end job into the rear end of John Hunter Nemechek, where
Alfredo
went down because catching up to the field and just who was that? Anthony Alfredo.
Yeah, Anthony Alfredo was just like, and he didn't even like. Nemechek did go up a bit, but Alfredo he made like a hard left.
Well, no, Nemechek went down because he almost hit the car in front of him, kind of thing. So, he slowed down, but as you do, you go, oh, okay, and I'll just come outside and then pull back in. And he was doing the already coming upside, and I'm like, where are you going? Making it 3 wide? Like,
like I said, he made if you watch it, he made like a hard left.
Yeah, because he realized that I think he was almost trying to spin himself out to avoid worseness. But no. Yeah, John Hunter kept going. Other than that, it's Darlington. Bit bump there where they resurfaced turn 2 still, but what are you going to do? Very much we saw some quality, at least 2.5 lane action in both series, which was nice. Which is Darlington's notorious for having 1 line, 1.5 at best.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lot of the broadcast team, being Jeff Burton going, you can't go into the... they did. All right. Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty are like, we don't know. We raced here as Kyle said, we always ran here in the last century, and we didn't drive like that around here. Yeah. And, that was interesting. And then there was, delays and this and that. And then towards the end, we had Kyle Larson and Sheldon Creed doing their best Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch imitation,
Except for almost a full lap.
Yeah, except more contact. Yeah. And then they got on the last lap. They separated into the last corner, and at that point, Sheldon Creed's car was fucked. And he's just like, I'm going to Carl Edwards it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And Noah Gragson thought, I'm just going to shoot through it. And he just slammed the wall in between first and second place, bounced back down, but only broke one of the wheels, not 2 like Creed. Managed to get around and win the race. And everyone's, look at the veteran moves. Oh, no wonder he's destined for Hall of Fame Cup career, blah, blah. Fuck off. He got lucky. Yeah. And then, I'm overheated because he's too good to follow safety procedure yet again.
You would think after
chest hairs and his wannabe mustache.
After the 8th race that you're dry heaving in your helmet because you're too overheated. Maybe we think about a cool suit or something else to try and help you out.
Yeah, just don't borrow AJ Allmendinger's cool suit.
Yeah, that's not a good one. But just and like the interview afterward is really I can't talk because I'm going to puke is getting kind of old.
Yeah, well, that's not going to fly in Cup.
No, it's
not like he's going to win races in Cup. So not with the way he keeps going. Too soon? Yep.
And and if you're gonna have your crew climb the fence, take more than 3 steps up the fence. Like even Smoke went to the top with his fat ass.
Yeah.
Like you can try and at least make the effort.
Yeah. 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 So Gregson wins.
But again,
piling up the playoff points, like he and Gibbs are going to have a lot of playoff points going into the playoffs.
Yeah. But as I've said before, again, even with the Cup guy having, being in on the outcome of the race,
yeah,
taking that spot away from Shelton, Creed was fine with it, and you know what, it was good hard racing. I'll give him that. It's whatever, right?
Yeah.
But it's still another week of crickets. You have Kyle Busch do that.
Oh, forget it.
And we got a riot.
Pitchforks and torches and yeah.
You have Genny do that because he was supposed to be in the race, but he was still having issues with his back and that after the wreck at Daytona.
So we had Christopher Bell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just you have.
He was having an issue. They had to adjust the seat because he couldn't get her into fourth gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, my arm, I can't. The seat is here, and I need to get back, and I can't.
Yeah.
Denny is apparently shorter or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how anybody can be smaller than Christopher Bell. He seems like a man-child. So
yeah, I
don't know. Anywho, so that brings us into the Portland Indy race, which I love. I forget how much I love that track, and it's been back on the schedule of IndyCar for a little bit now. I think it replaced Watkins Glen because we used to run Watkins Glen around this time of year, including with the boot. The Formula One circuit, if you will. What? Yep, that's where they originally did Watkins Glen. Anyways, so everyone figured, because we got a full field, basically, 25 cars, good car count at the end of the year. Long straightaway, because, as you know, Portland's one of those tracks where the front stretch is also a drag strip.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the chicane down there and usually Calamity. So they're like, oh, there's going to be Calamity. Hinch was, last year was Paul Tracy's poor bastard that had to hang out down there.
Yep.
This year they stuck Hinch down there, and it's like all of the degrees out there, and he's in a suit. He's going, holy crap, come on, I'm Canadian. I can't handle this. And he booked it like by lap 3. He was up in the booth. And he said, wow, air conditioning, this is great. And so, but clean to the point where they ran like the first 2/3 of the race clean, caution free. Actually, might have been the first caution, might have been when Jimmy Johnson got Chastained, where, Jimmy was off the pace, but not off. He wasn't like Jimmy of last year, Jimmy. He was Jimmy this year who better, and Rinus VeeKay passes him on the front stretch and gets, let's say rear wheel to his front and then just decide to merge over a la Chastain, except there's a wall and Jimmy's still there. So Jimmy ate the wall and he came on. He's like, there was nothing I could have done because Jimmy assumes he's at fault still. In everything IndyCar related. He's like, I couldn't have done that. Like, no, he used you up. And he got a penalty as a result of that. Because NASCAR, you might want to look at that. Issuing penalties for avoidable contact. Ooh.
But then, if you do that, we can't have boys have at it.
Oh, you mean you actually have to race for a win and not just bash somebody out of the way for a win? What a concept.
But then you couldn't have Justin Marks saying, hey, we just wrecked $4 million worth of race cars today.
Exactly. His checkbook would like my idea. So, gets rid of the bump drafting and all that, because that's the biggest cause of the wrecks nowadays on the restrictor plate races. Air constriction device that's not a restrictor plate. It's a plate with 4 holes in it.
Yeah.
That's a restrictor plate. I wouldn't mind seeing, blocking, hey, Guitar Man, blocking is kind of self-policing, because if you try it too hard, the other guy goes, oh, yeah? rear quarter, loop to loop. So yeah, with the Indy race, largely caution free. We had some issues. Colton Herta, no, not Colton. Connor Daly had a bit of a fire at one point. Got his shoulder got little, but he figured, as he said, was it wind and science would put it out, which was he's drive fast enough to put it out.
Yep.
And then the next refueling, apparently there was another fire, and he went, "I'm done. That's it. I'm good." Shoulder's a little crispy.
Yeah,
because that's the fueling side. And so, and I'm trying to think. Scott Dixon got up there towards the front. Will Power was up there. What's his name there? The Kiwi. Scott McLaughlin, third win of the year. Which kind of puts him into going into the last race of the year. Laguna Seca, we're looking at 4 drivers eligible for the title. That although second and third are tied at 20 points back. So
yeah, I think it's Dixon's to win.
Dixon's not leading the
Oh
points.
no, I thought he was.
No, he got into the 20
Okay.
points back. Who is leading? Is it Will Power? I can't remember. But whoever, then basically we got 4 cars available, and because they award points for pole positions, which I kind of like that idea, single point for a pole, which NASCAR, not a bad idea since we brought back qualifying. Would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Especially since they're doing this round robin knockout where you got to use up 2 sets of tires, or a full set of tires or whatever, let's do that. So that I'm looking for Laguna Seca, corkscrew. Love it. Last few years, someone always tries to pull a Zanardi and just shoot the moon. Can't. Stand dropping there. Hey, Fruitcake Tony. We got 8 people watching. Nice. So that brings us into the Cup race, the Southern 500, which, drivers know that's a long race. You heard it early. Reddick was complaining about his car being a little... Everybody was complaining all weekend about the car being loose. Yeah. They're like, don't worry, we'll work on it, over the next few pits. He goes, I know, we still got 1,000 laps to run.
Well, yeah, and they had him on tonight. I think with Moody, they're talking about it. And he was like, you know what? When you think about it, the Southern 500 isn't all that bad after we've raced the 600.
Yeah.
We complain, but we're kind of used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of the, few remaining grueling races.
Yeah.
Like Dover used to be grueling, shortened it to 400. That took care of the grueling. Pocono was kind of boring at 500, and they shortened it to 400, and whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, but yeah, Southern 500, tradition, if you will. And we had just the Chargers show up.
Still the guy in the Confederate soldier's outfit outside the track was there when I was there, with a handful of Confederate flags, trying to get people to bring them into the race.
Yeah. I don't think he's there anymore.
I don't think so. But it was like
any pride flags? No.
It was a hot ass day that I was there, and he was like full flannels.
Yeah, all the sweat.
Oh yeah.
So 36 cars, opening race of the playoffs. Okay, let's see what happens. And there was a few guys out there from the start of the race that said, you know what? I don't care if y'all are in the playoffs. I'm going to try to win the Southern 500. And your boy Truex being one of them.
Yep.
Alex
he's
Jones
always been good at Darlington, though.
Yes. Along Alex Jones or Eric Jones. Eric Jones, right?
Yeah, not Alex.
Eric Jones.
Not Alex.
Yeah. Different helmet altogether. He's reaching for it. Yeah. Eric Jones always run well. And actually, didn't Eric Jones win previously at Darlington?
In the I almost said the 78, but the 77 car.
Right. Yeah, during that brief time. That was before Eric was considered washed up. Right.
That was the year that the plug was pulled on Furniture Racing.
Right. Because the owner went, I want a title, I'm good.
Yeah, he did what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, which nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, and who? There was somebody else running up in there that was not a playoff driver.
Trying to think. Can't think of him.
Anyways, but it was nice. Like, it wasn't like, when they're showing the standings, like the 16 playoff cars are in the top 18 spots.
Yeah.
It wasn't that at all during the race.
Yeah.
And, unless during pit cycles or something. But, because we had some guys starting at the back and a lot of guys could play with loose cars.
Suarez had to start at the back and then do the pass through.
And he said,
he was a lap down after the first lap.
Just watch me. I'm going to have some excitement. And okay. Yep. I get it.
So
Harvick started at the back too, didn't he? He didn't have a good qualifying effort. I
think so. Yes. Yeah.
So more on him later. It was his turn.
So first car out of the race.
Yes.
Well, out of the race, then back in.
Yes.
Because we had an issue, but then we didn't have an issue.
Right.
With an engine would be the 5 car.
As he said, not again.
Well, as we talked off air, Hendrick Motorsports have blown 4 engines this year.
Yep.
One more engine blown, and it'll be the car number that's had all the engine blown.
Exactly. But they were able to bring it into the pits. They said, hey, boss, and that being Chad Knaus, they said, can y'all bring your laptop on over and put in the blippity bloops into the digitals and see if you can't miraculously, wave your magic laptop over it and fix it? And by golly, he did.
Yeah. Must have found something or got a new one.
Whatever.
He possibly.
And I want to point out, because, like Eric Jones was running well throughout the race, up in the top 10, because we got, it was nice Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty actually got to do a segment.
Yeah.
I think Jeff
they do every year. They do every year.
Yeah. And, they say, the 43 down there, Steve Letarte trying to sound smart,
Yeah.
Hey, 43, was doing well down there. And, and then Kyle's response was, well, you must be talking about Lee Petty because Dad didn't do crap here. Like, he won a Southern 500, but that was like his only good finish here, type thing. And I thought that was great because Kyle is very self-deprecating and he loves, as he says, my dad still thinks he's a goddamn cowboy.
Yeah.
He's like, he likes putting the king down a notch, if he can, in a playful way. And so I thought that was cool. Like, y'all must be talking about my granddaddy because not dad.
Yeah.
So, and then Dale was just like, I'm just not going to talk about my dad winning by 13 laps here. We're not going to talk about that one. So, so it was nice, having them in the booth and this and that. And then we had the Golden Boy there, Spins, and as you said,
which
the headline was...
I was camping this weekend, so I had to watch the race later on, but it comes up on my phone that Elliott involved with Briscoe in a wreck and out of the race. Video tells a different story than that headline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only reason Chase Briscoe was involved in that wreck was because bad place at a bad time.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, too, Doug. I was waiting for them to mention it. They're showing the repairs and they're about to go green. And I'm like, I fast forwarded to this caution. And I'm pretty sure we're well past the repair clock.
Well, yeah. And that's one thing I forgot to mention last week was that it got changed last week.
Yeah. To how long now?
10 minutes.
Exactly. Because I'm like, he's done. And then finally, Dale Jr. just said, and the repair clock has expired. I'm like, you're not calling golf, Dale. Speak up. Because he didn't want to mention it. And they're like, he's officially out of the race.
Well, Letarte was like, he's done. He's done. Like,
yeah, oh yeah. he figured it was broke. But that was the interesting thing. And they're he's officially out of the race. So like, the spectacle of it.
Yep.
Nothing new. He wins or breaks. That's kind of what he's been doing this year. That's his season. So
I like Letard as they were throwing the parts, the control arms out. Letard's like, that's not supposed to be broke like that. That's not supposed to be bent. That's not supposed to be in a U shape. Oh, that part's not supposed to come apart like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just another, we had a couple of some cars getting into each other a bit here and there. Larson, even though he was 4 laps down, managed to get back to the lead lap due to wave arounds and lucky dogs and this and that. Although he managed to spin out on his own too.
Yep.
Similar setup, I'm guessing, to Elliott. And he kind of messed with the car a little, and it was okay. And then Harvick caught all the fire. Like, that car went up hard.
Oh, yeah.
Flame.
Yeah.
Both sides. And the flames coming out the tailpipes.
So that's that's what's been talked about a lot.
Yeah, because they got a little vent on the tailpipe.
Oh, yeah. So far this year, cars that have caught fire. Tell me what you think is the same. Buescher, Custer, Briscoe, Harvick.
All Fords.
It's just the Fords that are catching fire. The other thing is, maybe we should be going back to letting those wheels be a little loose, because since we started having fires, there's been no loose wheels. No wheels.
Pick your poison. Doug's saying, what he's saying is pick your poison. Do you want to lose a crew chief for 4 weeks but not have to rebuild a car due to fire?
Yeah.
Because you can't reuse that car because the metal's all brittle once it's been burnt. So
yeah, and I wish I would have it on.
I like the fact that Harvick called it out, because there is definitely, my idea is, I think we're gonna have to put wheel wells in the front wheels, because the way it is under there, rubber is building up in an area where it obviously catches fire, and it's not a secure area, because we're hearing every time, and Harvick called immediately, fire inside the car, fire inside the car. And you see that every time the flames manage to get. Why is that not sealed? A firewall. It's right in the word, Doug. Firewall is short for fireproof wall.
Yes, I'm trying to find. I can't find it here.
I think if we ran an inner fender well under the hood.
Rodney Childers on Twitter here. I wish I could find it. It says, like, why don't we just go and put a big hole in the front of the car where rubber can go in, and then go right onto the rocker panel, and then where it's like really hot, and then with that, let's then have an air duct blowing air onto that there, creating a nice little, some gas for that fire.
Feeding fuel, oxygen to it.
Right? And so
he did the tweet, Keith says.
Okay. Because the only thing I can see, because that's all they were talking about on the radio today, only thing I can see on there from Childers about the other night was complete bullshit, was going to be a great night.
Yeah. So, like I say, there's obviously a design flaw there. We're seeing at tracks that have high tire degradation mainly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is a lot of the tracks. And guess what? And with the exception of California, we're going to see more of it in Texas, because as tracks age, they get more abrasive.
And as someone called in today, was like, because they were talking, like, that's all been to talk about the last 2 days, was like, can they not do something where the crews can go, as they're changing tires, maybe have a little area where they can scoop out that extra, because some of that extra is not just all coming in that duct that's open there. That's some of its own tire rubber building up there as well.
Yeah, that's why you just got to run an inner fender well, like on a road car. Takes care of that issue, because then you could give it a swipe if you wanted to, make it nice and smooth, like you design it the exact same as over the rear wheels. A crush panel, perfectly smooth.
Yep.
Because we don't get rubber, but we do get some rubber buildup. If you looked inside the rear wheel well of a car after a race, you'd be surprised how much rubber buildup.
We've seen that on an 18 car because I want to take a couple little strands.
Yeah.
That one car that we've seen on the floor of Gibbs.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll see it too on cars in the museums, like straight off the track. You'll see a lot of rubber buildup. Or when they open the hood, you'll see blah, 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 all under the hood there.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, there is ways to fix it, but I'm sure NASCAR is on it to a certain.
Well, yeah, the Scott Miller was on there this morning. He was kind of
it's not going to get fixed overnight.
He didn't want to go back and forth with Harvick, so he kind of kept it very political. But NASCAR is checking it out. It's not that NASCAR doesn't care.
Yeah.
They are.
Maybe we shouldn't run the exhaust inside the cars too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's put it back external. You got that whole flat plate. Oh, you got the flat plate under there. So?
Yep.
So? It's not working. So, yeah.
But again, you have to wonder is why is it all just the Fords?
Yeah, which is weird because
why is there no other cars? But then someone could say, "Oh well, JJ Yaley, he caught fire too." That was an engine.
Yeah.
That wasn't,
Yeah, and like say, beyond the noses and rear pieces, they're the same at that point in the car, anyways. That's a universal under the skin. So, it isn't necessarily a Ford thing. It's definitely a NASCAR Cup thing. So then, something I haven't seen, I don't think I've ever seen in a race. Let's talk about the leaders and leading the race under caution. Kyle Busch. I'm like, hey, that looked like somebody just vaped on the far side of his car. I saw a cloud.
Yeah.
And they didn't talk about it for a second. And they went, again, and Junior went, hey, and then Latour's like, holy crap, he's blowing up. And I was like, yep, he is. And it was getting worse and worse and worse. And I thought, you know what? Kyle could have shut her down. Kyle's the type of guy that if you give him an engine that's not going to last, he's going to make sure it's not going to last.
Yeah.
So he coughed her all the way around, and the crowd did go nuts. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? There's something like the boom. And I was like, oh, that's not good. I have seen that or heard of it happening because of a car under caution. Used to be because you lean out the engine so much under caution that it can overheat. And possibly, that can happen.
So Toyota has taken Kyle and Martin's car back to California to assess those engines back at the shop at the TRD Center in California.
I assume so. Gibbs has no engine program anymore. Because remember, originally Toyota was doing engines and Gibbs were doing engines.
Yeah. So now Gibbs does everything through TRD in California.
Right. So Gibbs no longer does engines.
No.
Right. Which is continues the amalgamation of engines. So that happened, and they did do an interview with Kyle. They didn't broadcast it till after the race, but they showed it because it was. At first, I thought they caught up with him after the race, but then you hear nyong, nyong, nyong. I'm like, wait a minute, this is during the race still.
Well, see, so that was the other thing that came up with Sunday night was that Chase was, because of a wreck, Chase wasn't able to go on in the race.
Yeah.
Right? He did not go to the Unionfield Care Center.
No.
As he was supposed to.
Right.
He went to the hauler first, and then like a half an hour later, actually someone said, you got to go. Because everybody's talking about this because apparently like his plane was fired up and ready to go.
Sure.
To get out of there, right? But he... too good for the care center, and and they were also talking with Kyle Busch where, what, hate him all you want. He went in, he took the time, changed clothes, come back out, talk to the media.
Yeah, which in the past he wouldn't have. And
also
I understand. I will give Chase a little on that because it used to be the rule was if you drove the car back, you didn't have to go to the care center. And that's why everybody used to drive their cars back because they didn't want, if you got your bell rung and you had a concussion, you didn't want to show the doctors you had a concussion. So you did everything you could to get that car back to the pit stall.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, it came down into the final laps we'll go to. A lot of people out there were driving quite aggressive.
Yep.
Saw a lot of like Chastain was back to being Chastain, but not overly just bashing people, but being aggressive.
Yep.
Which okay, fine, playoffs, right? Because Joey Logano's like, I can do that too, and he was just the slide jobs, and I was like, Joey, and he's like, I like to drive fast, and he would go out front, and then everyone catch him, and he's like, my car is crap. No, you drove the crap out of it, Joey.
Well, and we shit on him a lot.
Yeah, he was using up his car in 15 laps.
But still, when he goes out and he drives it, like he's even said, you know what? I don't care. My friends are all at home watching the race. I don't have any friends on the track.
They mentioned that during the race that Joey Logano has become the hardest guy to pass in the field. He's become
the new Newman.
Yeah, he's the new Newman.
Right? Because and I know you didn't watch it, but on that docuseries that first episode, he was like, all my friends are at home. I don't have friends at the track. Once the green flag drops, I don't have any friends.
Right.
I don't care who you are. I'm going to race you hard.
Yep. Yeah, and he stated that. That's why literally is one of his few friends at the track. Your favorite buddy, Michael McDowell. We drive yellow cars. Yeah. So it was quite the finish. We got down to, we had 3 cars basically in it. Yep. You had the 43 out front, you had the 11 right there, and the 8, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the 8 as well.
Yeah, Reddick was there, yep.
Yeah, who was just in the hunt. So if you two get together, I'll take over,
Yep.
And I was counting down the corners. Like, I'm hoping, I'm like, all right, I'm a Richard Petty fan. Let's get the 43 into victory lane. We got the chance. It's like if Harrison Burton is in that same position.
Oh, yeah.
We're all going for Harrison to get that
for sure.
win for the Wood Brothers, which I believe is also at 199.
Yes.
So, so Eric Jones was Mr. Wheelman, smooth out there, driving as hard as he had to.
Yep.
Not as hard as he could, but as hard as he had to. And wins the race. It didn't look like the King was at the track.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I didn't see the King, which kind of sucks. But the first thing they're like, hey, you won the Southern 500. He goes, I get a hat. King told me if I won the Southern 500, I get a hat. So he's like, I'm getting one of them. I'm like, I know those hats very well. I know exactly where those hats are. So, and somebody came on the radio. It's like, beers tonight? And you're, oh yeah. So beers were going to be consumed. And
a very odd combination in Victory Lane. Beer, and I've had one. I had one in May. I was told I had to go and have one in May, and I had one, a cookout milkshake. If you haven't had a cookout milkshake, what the hell are you doing with your life?
Oh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
I do enjoy milkshake.
Milkshakes and beer were consumed in Victory Lane.
Nice. Yeah, so, and this be the 200th victory for Petty Enterprises as an organization, which is awesome. Congrats to them and the many drivers that have contributed to those wins over the years, which would be Lee Petty, Richard Petty, what's his name there? Hamilton. Pete Hamilton.
Andretti get a win?
What?
Andretti get a win?
And John Andretti, Bobby Hamilton, Eric Jones, Eric Almirola. Bubba didn't. And many others that drove the 43 car. Anyways, yes, 200 wins for Petty Enterprises, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And, other than that, news and notes.
Well, there was one other picture taken in Victory Lane. I'm not looking for it here. But that everybody was gone. beer cans and empty milkshake containers all over the ground. And Eric Jones' dog, the only one there, the German Shepherd, cleaning up victory lane.
Nice. A little beer, a little milkshake.
Yep.
Nice. I do not want to be around that dog when he gets gassy later. Woo! So, that's cool. Yeah, news and notes. Corey LaJoie and Cole Custer's cars were taken to the R&D Center post-race. Came through fine. No infractions, nothing like that. As they will be doing that, taking 2 cars at least the remainder of the year. And other than that, playoff shake-up. Chase Elliott, who had a very large playoff point
45-point lead?
Yeah, it went in half. He lost half the points.
He's down to 14 point, over half. He's down to 14-point lead.
Yeah. So, interesting. And we still have, the win and you're into the next round still applies. We were only going to have 2 guaranteed winners maybe then. But we now have our 6th or 17th winner this season.
Yes. Yeah, which is, who would have thought that? Like, at the end of the year, we're like, could there be? But
I'm almost thinking at this point we could have 20 by the end of the year.
You know what? I was thinking that as well.
Because I figure Blaney and Truex are still probably going to win a race each.
Because I wouldn't count Truex out at Kansas. He's always been good at Kansas.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, both cars are so competitive that it's not like, with most drivers that are on a winless streak each week, I think your chances of winning are less, not greater. Whereas these guys, I think it's greater each week in many ways.
The other thing is that if you're looking at the standings, there's not a misprint. There is only 2 Penske cars in the owners' standings.
Yes,
because the 45 is still in the owners' standings, just not the drivers. Because that is why Bubba Wallace was now in the 45. But didn't Ty outrun him this week?
He did. I wasn't going to say that, but yes, he did. Not by a lot.
No.
And I will say, Bubba was the better of the 2 cars the majority of the race.
Yeah.
Because he was shaking her up around 8th to 12th quite a bit, too. He was another one of those guys that was up in there. And again, I can't really, I'm not going to count him out as winning a race this year. So,
not at all.
Especially since that's a race-winning team.
Yep.
Especially, not taking anything necessarily away from the 23, but the 45 team has been there, done that this year with that car.
But is that still the 45 team, or they just switch numbers and cars?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, actually, no, I think it's the 45 team, but Booty moved over with Bubba, which is stupid to do. They should have just swapped car numbers.
Yeah.
Swap vinyl stuff, I guess. Swap wraps.
Yeah.
Which actually, no, swap numbers, because Bubba was running the 45 McDonald's car, and Ty was driving the 23 Monster Energy car.
Yeah.
So, literally, swap numbers.
Yep.
So, other than that, still no news on Kyle Busch.
Supposed to be coming soon. He has multiple offers, and I think he's already made up his mind.
Yeah, including, I believe, Gibbs is still in.
Yes, Gibbs is still for sure in the running.
Yeah.
I think if you were to
clean out your locker, you don't have to paint over the name on the parking spot. It's easy.
If you were to ask him, I think if you were to ask him, he wants to stay there.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
although I do get he likes the idea of building up the team too. So I'm not going to rule out colleague. And so, yeah.
He's not
driving the 8 for Earnhardt Childress Racing.
He's not going to Hendrick. I'm done listening to hearing that.
He's not going to Hendrick. There's no room at the end for Hendrick. Well, unless he drives the 5.
That ship has sailed.
Wait, he's already driven the 5. He'd be back to the 5? No. Maybe.
Yeah. And unlike I see
I can see the marketing now. Coming home again. Jeff Gordon and Chad Knaus with open arms at the entrance to Hendrick Motorsports, and Kyle with hat in hand. Please, sir, will you let me drive the 5 car again?
Yeah, and unlike I've seen some people on social media, when they were talking about the whole Chase thing not going to the infield care center,
Mm-hmm.
That's why Kyle got kicked out of the 5 because he didn't go to the infield care. No, the car was junk. He thought it was junk. Went to the infield care center. Was like, this car is unrepairable.
And
Left.
left.
Junior
Then
hopped
Junior
in.
drove the car.
Yes.
Yeah. Which Junior immediately said, sure, just because it was a chance to drive a different car. There's nothing to read into beyond Junior saw an opportunity to try a different car because he had only ever driven for the family team at that point.
Yeah. Well, there was the napkin contract.
But that was later. Not a lot later, but later.
You sure? No,
Yeah.
that was when he was younger.
Oh, yeah. That was like younger. Like he was 14 or something, maybe.
Yeah.
One of those, hit me up later in life, kid.
Did we talk about him finishing third at North Wilkesboro?
We didn't. Dale Jr. finished third. Oh, speaking of which, so I'm watching that. Dirty Mo Media did a great job, mini documentary. Josh Berry walking around with the ball cap and the t-shirt with sunglasses on looks a lot like Corey Kleben. Just saying. Is there more than once? I'm like, Corey's there? Because it's just a bunch of guys hanging out. And I'm like, no, wait. And he same walk has like the similar physical manner. I'm like, I had to do a double take it, but it's only with the hat on because the short hair and they wear the same sunglasses. And I'm just like, oh, wait, that's Josh. And pretty stiff field, including Chad McCumbee was in the race.
Yep. Travis Quapelson was the winner.
Carson driving for Junior's other car. That makes you feel old because it's like, I remember when your dad raced and you were like, what's going on in Victory Lane? Like that young. Like, well, the kids we've seen in Victory Lanes this year.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But
as opposed to when we saw Dale Jr. in Victory Lane as a kid, and we were like, hey, it's a kid like me. In Victory Lane with his dad. There wasn't that, hey, it's someone's kid.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, there hasn't been any real big news and notes here coming out.
No, and there won't be. Pretty much everything is close to being locked up, other than Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Because pretty much everything's kind of locked in for playoff mode in many ways. Which is the way it goes. We don't see a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
But So where are we running this weekend? Kansas.
Right?
So you're going to pick Truex at Kansas?
Yes, and I'll give 3-1 odds that the guy in turn 1 still knows how to barbecue now after the last race.
No, remember they moved him over to turn 3, so he's downwind.
Yes, that's right.
Because you do still see the smoke, but it's going away from the track.
Yes,
they moved him over to turn 3.
Yeah.
Right. I predict we're going to see, towards the end of the race, some shenanigans between the 11 and the 1. I think we're going to see a rekindle there.
I think we're also going to see another fuck up by the 9. I just had that feeling. He finished...
Or he's going to win. That was going to be my initial pick for the win, but I think really it's going to be
in the spring there.
What's that?
He finished 39th in the spring there.
He better hope only the charter team show up.
Yeah.
And, geez, he might be able to playoffs 2 36th place finishes in a row. Yes.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Last couple weeks, I've been cheering a few misfortunes of drivers.
Well, yeah, and even when I first seen that Larson went out there, I'm like, could we see all 4 Hendrick cars out first?
Right. Well, and the 24 was good early in the race, then he faded off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could see more of that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We could see a repeat, possibly, but not quite as far as St. Louis. Between the 11 and the 1,
Yeah.
but I could see something like the two of them getting into it and neither one of them winning the race as a
Mhm.
result. I just have a feeling because there's room at that
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
So,
Well, remember, we do have Bristol coming up as the cutoff race.
oh, that's going to be Joey Logano's race for some reason.
What would be interesting is Larson have another bad day, Chase have another bad day, and both of them come down to them battling for a spot, that last spot in the playoffs.
Right. And okay, at that point, boys have at it. Well, sorry, Larson have at it.
I'm taking
Use up
Larson.
time.
I'm taking Larson on that deal.
Yeah. It's a problem. I do like Larson. Hate the organization.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Then
But
again,
did we not talk about it last week, or did it just you and I just talk about it ourselves? Larson, 2 years left at Hendrick. Almirola signs for 2 years at SHR.
yeah. Turn that 5 into a 10. And see them go back to Chevy or Dodge at that point.
Yes.
Or Dodge at that point. Or another manufacturer altogether because of a tie with Formula One. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, should be good from Kansas. Maybe there'll be a Clint Boyer sighting at the track. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Hopefully he'll get back to the track soon after his. I think he needs that just to get back. It's just as a sighting at the track.
Yeah. Noon show next week or lunchtime show next week?
No, we are back to the evening next week. We're still
Okay.
last evening, and then we go.
And then the calamity starts. Okay, that's fine.
Um.
On that note, he's been Doug. I've been Ben.
Great. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Evening show next week, and then
And then a daytime show. Or a breakfast show for Keith.
Yeah.
There we go. Coffee. Coffee time with Keith.
Yes, Keith. Dodge is still even a thing anymore in NASCAR because they're still in NASCAR. They never left.
Yep. Half the Canadian series is Dodges.
Yes.
It's all the Dodges.
And all the Dodges have numbers on the rear quarter panel.
Yeah, but they moved them back instead of forward.
Yes. And I talked with Dave Moody about that, and he doesn't have an issue. But yeah.
There we are. He's Doug. I'm Ben. You're you. This has been NasCanucks, your NASCAR podcast right here on YouTube.
See you, Marcus.
Fire up that motor and try not burning your hand this week.
That sucks. That really hurts.